In our first story, the central business district of Tema is deserted. The usual hustle and bustle, which would characterize the area, is also missing. Now, most shops are also closed. Just a few commercial vehicles, according to our reporters, are said to be working. Meanwhile, residents are mostly inside their homes or just parading the frontages of their houses. Mamiesi Thompson has been speaking to some drivers and brings us the latest. By Mamiesi Thompson with residents of Tema. As you could also see in that visual, many of them had said they were taking the precautions but also had to go to work, and you saw one of the essential or exempted workers there, public health nurse at the markets. There were scanty activities, even though we also had many market women displaying their wares, all interacting with Mamiesi Thompson. We'll get her on the line very soon. Well, apart from Mamiesi Thompson, we also do have Nanaya PSA, who is also in town, somewhere in the capital, trying to monitor the situation. We'll get them all to tell us the latest they are observing. But the 2-week lockdown started at 1 a.m. today. Head of our security desk, Gifty Andoapia, was embedded with police officers implementing the directive and is reporting that some people who got to Ayi for example, especially at the toll booth after 1 a.m. were turned back, while others also traveling within the city were warned. I'll have to bring you that package. But before then, let's get to Mamiesi Thompson, who is reporting from Tema about how the lockdown is being undertaken or being monitored. And Mamiesi, what can you tell us so far?
Yes, well, and I'm currently at the Central Business District in Tema, opposite the TMA, and things are moving really slowly here in Tema. If you know Tema very well, you know that this is the heart of business activity, but today there's very, very little activity ongoing. I can see from where I'm standing right now that there are some commercial vehicles that are trying to load, but they are not loading as fast as they could, and there are just a few of them. Also, those that are selling here at the market are not there. Almost all the shops, I wouldn't say all the shops, almost all the shops have been closed. The traders are at home. Even food vendors are not here at the moment. There are a few banks too that have opened, but customers are also piling up in front of the banks. We have an example of the Standard Chartered Bank, where customers are struggling to get into the banking hall because the bankers were trying to control the numbers that come into the banking hall. So far, things are moving very, very slowly here, Roland.
But I know there could be some situations, for example, at the banks, etc. In the communities, how are people observing the lockdown?
Okay, so people are observing it by not coming out as much as we see them in town. I can see that there are some people in town and they are wearing their nose masks. They're trying to keep their distance as much as they can, but it doesn't really look like that is really working, because you see people walking in 2s, in 3s, even 5, and you wonder if the social distancing thing is going to work. people are not really observing the social distancing aspect of the precautions that must be taken. But you could see that most of them outside are in their nose mask, and people are also washing their hands at very little buckets that have been positioned at vantage points to, prevent the spread of the virus. Currently, there's not much activity though. Those that are selling to, not most of them are out. You could see a few vendors, the mobile momo sellers, and then the coconut sellers. You can also see some fruit sellers around, but that's just it for now. There are still people that are crowded in front of the Standard Chartered Bank, as I said earlier. They want to get into the banking hall, but there was initially miscommunication between them and then the bank management. They didn't know that they had to, manage the number of people that had to be at the banking hall at the time. And so when they opened a little later than they usually would, all the customers wanted to, rush into the hall. But then it took the intervention of the police to control the situation and also to calm the customers down. I understand that this branch here, Community 1, is the only one that is open for now. The rest of the branches have been closed, but that cannot be said for all the banks in the area.
The security personnel, what's their role here? Aren't they supposed to have been monitoring the situation?
They are actually. They have been positioned at various places. So there are some that are in front of where we call the casino, where you find most of the taxi drivers, and then the entrance to the main market. We have some too in front of the CMA office, and then a few of them that have been, that are also monitoring the situation, patrolling the areas. So you see them at places where if their attention is needed, they'll have to come. And so that's the situation that happened here. You see the military men too that have been positioned at various places that are also ensuring that people adhere to the directives that have been given. And so far, there hasn't been any major concern that has been raised by these security personnel. So far, so good on the side of the security people, Roland.
Oh, thank you very much. But let's take you to Kumasi, and it's where we have Emmanuel Kwesi Debra also monitoring the situation since morning. And Emmanuel, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm on the line, Roland.
Yeah, great. Which of the areas have you been to since we spoke to you from Edu?
Aside Dr. Mensa, that's the real central business district. I've been to Ejitia, where most of the stores have been closed. Even those who are supposed to sell food, they've all been closed down. And so now I'm at the race course. And we heard earlier that prices of farm produce have come down. And so that's why we came around. And in fact, when we came here, the matter is true. And I'm going to speak with one of the women. She sells tomatoes. And good morning. Anyway, I just say, from Kaka. Felix, yeah,
Ever sign. They say I have come on the planet here. The car will be a man, they said, yeah, about. And when I 10 million, 8, 9, box. They said, yeah.
Well, now she says the boss used to go for 10, that's 1,000 cities. Now it's 800 and some they sell it for 700 cities. Now, executing they're most one of 5 to 10 cities.
Maybe I saw. And also, and not the another one. I'm saying your phone of what in your man, and that's I answer.
Okay. Yes. So with the others also with the smaller packages, you're having initially going for 10 cities that has been reduced by about 5 cities. The ones going for 50 cities is now 20 cities. So that's how they are selling here. And let me go to. I have one of the women also here. She sells pepper. She's also going to tell us how the price have reduced since yesterday. With the price, Bakui. I said, why did the price of what man?
I said, I'm not from them. And now the Papa, if I'm not on this million, 5. The best year in my desk, that's the manifestation. And the man I cut, and I'm a cool position. You know, I'm called most on your man. And then your money go on. nti aban wo ye mobo na de akọ de abata nkọ de le ne de bi be hwe nkran yesu ye niska bi ada dem ene yakase ye tenafia e de be ma nkran na didi eti ye tire no wo ye mobo ye ni kunu ene ye de so de tire na ya kana so de ku kom to wo ye mobo.
All right, so well, and as she said yesterday, because we were coming to the market, they raised the price, and now the people are not in the market. They would have to reduce the price. So they are having lots of them here. They are going weak, but they don't know what to do. And so that's what's happening here at the central market. No, at the race course market, price of goods have come down. And now, so the earlier people weren't around as patrons, but now they are coming in their numbers. The whole issue of social distance is almost been debated. So that's what's happening here. It's business as usual. Just the prices of goods have come down. Yolanda.
We have something we've written as part of the slacks as we've supered on the screens, and it says shops closed, streets deserted in Accra and Kumasi as movement restriction takes effect. By your experience and observation, would you say that is a picture you're seeing? We really do have movement restrictions? Kwesi? Do I have Kwesi on the line?
I'm here.
Kwesi?
Yeah, good.
Hello, Kwesi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, do we really have movement restrictions based on your experiences and so far what you've observed?
No, I want to.
We're here at the racecourse market, and as you can see, lots of activities here. It's business as usual. It's quite contrastive. Where you go to the real central business district, that's a Doom proper, where you see a bit of just few people moving around. You see security men around the place, military men there walking around. But here, there's no security personnel walking around. There's a market full of people. And it's as if it's business as usual. It's like everybody is doing his own business. What we heard, and we came to the market, is the prices of goods have come down. And so you're talking about the tomatoes, you're talking about pepper, the prices have come down. And I have one of the traders here to speak with. Yankasakra, you see I'm not on the board, but I see no work of them. Didn't see it.
Mepacho, and your cars will be antinefino. And to be a say, or Baba market, Abedidra. It's yes, you near my Suya go on, so I dare bet you, yes, I'm Faba Hokra, and until you didn't that the share by. Out of 4 days, will be a suru. And yes, more can want some to say, I say, Yamla be a barbetua, dear Maya, and one say it will. Yakofa near mana aboard, they say your boca, a cup hard, a swan near Manaka. And I have a 6 million 5 share, and then make only so make 5 cities. Adiama.
So she says because of the lockdown, many people have not been able to come to the market, and they are having very few people here. And because their goods are perishable, they would have to sell everything before the day ends. So that's what they are doing. They have reduced the prices. Say, we know, not neboise.
Me pacho enra na meko say otimi ton 150,000. Meko nego on. Meko say 5 cities enra 5 cities eti wo check here until we overturn the 15 cities sa konko ni etwa no 200,000 ene on say we nyina 5 cities.
Okay. It's first that moton way 15 cities, but now it's 5 cities. So she says that was yesterday. This went for 15 cities, but it's now 5 cities. So you're having about 10 cities gone. So me that's a parcel. All right, so let's speak with another woman also, and she sells tomatoes. Yes, ma, where they are? Akwawa. Edwa kasati. Yeah, hey, yes, more in us abafom tomatoes. Yeah, hey, boxy. Sena esite.
Me patcho box say abafom. Enu aye to no 10 million. Ebi kura no ni enya bi. Enti ebi kura no na bolo. But ene ukura 8 million, 9 million, 7 million kura ubenya bi. Say enya de otokula. Yenya de oto ama market na abafom kura nti ene ma bia sa abafom.
All right, so she says yesterday that it used to go for 1,000 cities, but now you can get it for 800 Ghana cities and also 700 cities. And you have to get to us we now we're nurse and bucket.
Me patron na we 100 cities, but 70 bakura imagine yenya de otokula nipa ni dwomu.
So it's almost the same percentage which has been applied to this one, which is the bucket of this one. It used to go for 100 cities, but now it's 70. You can get it for 80, and if you have a proper bargaining power, you might get it for also 60 Ghana cities. So that's what's happening here. Price of goods have come down, and so we'll be checking at the other places to see how movement is. But as you can see, at the market is business as usual, though the number of people have reduced. But you can see that is going on. As market is business as usual, and people are having their own thing here. Roland.
Well, thank you, Kwesi Deborah. Kwesi Deborah in Kumasi, and also observing or reporting the situation for us. Nana, our PSA is in Accra. We'll try and have him online or on stream and get the latest update from him. Nana, our PSA, good morning to you. Where have you visited since the last report from the Central Business District?
Yes, Roland. Since the last report, we have been in part of Tudu, a major retail and trade center of the Central Business District right here in Accra. And as expected, most of the streets are empty as usual. But a peculiar development we noticed here is that the traders are lashing out at government, particularly since after a few minutes after we arrived around 10 a.m., most of them are complaining that the AMA has been here this morning. And despite their warrants, or in fact their guarantees that they'll be allowed to trade, most of their foodstuff baskets of okra, tomatoes, and pepper have been lifted and taken away by the AMA officials, who are telling them that they must return to do so in the market. The part of here, it seems, is that the market facility itself has been closed down for reasons we are yet to get. We tried to reach the AMA authorities who are on ground, but they didn't speak to us or have not given any official comment yet. So as of now, it's the traders here who are really angry at government, the fact that most of their food stuff have been taken away this morning.
There's a concern looking at how everybody seemed to be walking around. Is that the same situation where we have streets that are filled up with people walking without much ado about nothing?
Indeed, there are scores, and as I speak to you, I can see about two gentlemen crossing the street. Like, they did not look. They are not in business attire. They are in virtually casual attire. You can tell this, as I said, most of them are indigents of the street. They live they are homeless, if you may put it that way. Those numbers I've noticed upon all my rounds, and even as we proceed now into further parts of Tudu, you can see that lots of those people are around. But it would seem the patrol, the security services that are around, do not bother such people. I do not know the directive that's been served to them yet. None of them has commented officially. But it would seem such individuals are left on their own to loiter about peacefully, if you may put it that way.
What about the enforcement of the regulations, Nana PSA? Do we have the security agencies, those personnel deployed onto the main streets trying to...
Here at Tudu, there are very, very few security personnel on site. We've gone quite a few miles, and I'm yet to see the security personnel from the last time when we saw any. You would see they are not as visible as we were told in terms of high enforcement rates, even though people are still trying to comply on their own. Security personnel and their presence is very low from observations I've made this morning.
Well, Nana PSA, thank you for that update. And Nana PSA is our main reporter on ground, monitoring the situation of the lockdown in the capital. Accra had been to the Central Business District and transitioning to allied communities or close by or adjoining communities. But in Parliament, a lot is happening. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, is expected before the plenary this morning to brief the House on what is being done to keep the economy afloat amid the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the minister is also expected to seek approval for a $35 million facility from the World Bank to support COVID-19 spread. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is joining us live with the latest update on what really is happening in Parliament and whether the Finance Minister is present. Now, good morning to you, Joseph. What can you tell us? Is the Finance Minister already before the House? Well, Joseph will be joining us. Before we have Joseph, make sure you get interactive from the content we're delivering. You can give us what you also know, what you're observing by way of the lockdown in the community you live in, whether in Tema, Accra, the precinct of just the boundaries of Accra. We're talking Kaswa and its allied communities, or in Kumasi. Let us know what you've seen. Tag us on Facebook, JoyNews on TV. Also give us the latest update through our Twitter handle at JoyNews on TV, and let us know what you've seen so far. But moving on, prior to the taking effect of the movement restriction this morning, JoyNews MFA Apau engaged the Minister for Information, Kojo Nkrumah, on lockdown last night to enable the public ask him all the critical questions on their mind following the president's last presidential announcement. Now, just in case you missed that engagement, here is an excerpt of what transpired in the studio.
A pass for you too.
Before I go to the exercise question, there's a related question that was sent in earlier also about whether herbal clinic and centers are exempted from this. Are they also allowed to operate during the period?
To the extent that they are not handling emergencies, it is not our contemplation that they are exempt for persons to move around. They are open because they are health facilities. They are open because these local herbal items are also health facilities. But it is not our contemplation that people who are going for non-emergency items will also be trooping up and down. Yeah, for people who have some dire conditions that they have to go to these local herbal centers to get some of these certified products, it is something that will be allowed to.
And then exercise, jogging. This question runs through a number of people have asked that question, whether they can still continue their normal routine.
As much as possible, jog or exercise within your compound. As much as possible. And there are several exercises we can do in our compounds to a large extent. The spirit of the restrictions is to ensure that as much as possible people should stay home. It is in this jog that you say you are going for a 20 kilometer or 10 kilometer jog that you may go to pick up the virus.
You have to go up the McCarthy Hill.
So as much as possible, stay home. If you need to exercise, there are several exercises we can do within our compounds without necessarily going.
You can't walk the dogs as well.
You're encouraged to do it within your compound.
Okay.
A few laps within your compound will be helpful. These are not ordinary times.
Okay.
Is it that our police personnel are not well equipped to take care of this? And also, I've seen several videos on social media being sent by the soldiers themselves, giving a very serious warning to the public. And what I've seen is that those videos can scare people not to even go out to attend a nature call. Seeing how our communities are, we have to queue for a public toilet. So if these kind of videos are being sent out there, how do you expect people to attend to a nature call?
Good evening, MFA and the Honorable Information Minister, Dr. Nkrumah. This is my humble suggestion. Can the government for the next 3 months give nurses, doctors, other healthcare practitioners, and security personnel who are directly involved in the fight against the pandemic a tax-free on their next 3 months' salaries? I mean, the next 3 months' salary should not be taxed. And I think this will serve as a morale booster for this category of personnel to help fight and put their maximum best in fighting the pandemic. Thank you. My name is Kwaku.
I would like to know, as part of the utilization of the $100 million as announced by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, are you planning to use part of the money to build a permanent infrastructure to cater for future pandemics, so that when it comes, we are not praying that it comes, but when it comes, we are not finding ourselves wanting?
So that's what transpired yesterday evening when MFA Apo had that interaction with the Minister for Information, Kujo Ponkroma, who also happens to be the Member of Parliament for Ofuase Ayeribi, and talking about all the related issues of a lockdown. The duties of government or government business needs to go on, and as a result, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is expected before Parliament this morning to undertake a briefing on what is being done to keep the economy of Ghana afloat amid the spread of coronavirus. Now, the minister is also expected to pray the House for the approval of some $35 million. It's a facility from the World Bank, and this is expected to enable government support activities or actions regarding stopping the spread of the disease. And Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, our lead parliamentary correspondent, is joining us live. And Joseph, how soon is the briefing going to be? Well, we seem to have some technical difficulties with getting access to Joseph, but you can see him, and we'll try and stabilize that shot for you. But in the meantime, again, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is expected before Parliament. And as a result of that, we are also hoping that he will lay before Parliament an agreement for a facility of some $35 million. This facility is going to be accessed from the World Bank. You know that the business of government needs to move on, but all this is in relation to how government is able to keep in check the spread of coronavirus and its attendant expenditures. And Joseph has already joined me. Joseph, how soon is the briefing of the Finance Minister expected before Parliament?
So this is something that we were expecting to come off at 10:30 because the House was supposed to have started sitting at 10 o'clock, so that then by 10:30 the Finance Minister will be in the House. But it looks like things are delaying because I've not spotted him on the presence of the House as of yet. The House itself hasn't begun sitting. It looks like things will delay a little, probably getting into after 11:30 before we would eventually hear from the Finance Minister.
Have you been able to find out what the content of his briefing would be?
Roland, can you say that again for me?
Have you been able to find out what the content of his briefing to Parliament would be?
Yes. A number of things. He is expected to update MPs on the economic impact of the coronavirus situation on the economy. He's also expected to lay out specifically what government intends doing. We've gotten the hint that he will be announcing details of a planned stimulus package for businesses and individuals, and even some support for various households. Those are what is expected to be contained in the address. But beyond that, the House is also expected to go ahead and approve a $35 million facility that government is seeking from the World Bank in order to help deal with the coronavirus situation. This was laid in Parliament, that was last week Saturday, and referred to Parliament committee when it comes to finance. And so that committee is expected to bring us this report later today, and the Finance Minister will guide the process to ensure the approval of that $35 million facility.
Relatedly, we also do know that the other expenditures beyond just getting to know how coronavirus could affect the economy, but more so this facility. Will the Finance Minister be expected to speak on these?
So exactly. Even well apart from that, just about 3 weeks before the whole COVID-19 situation evolved, the Finance Minister had laid before Parliament a request for a supplementary budget approval government indicated getting into late last year that they had spent in excess of 6.7 billion cedis to help deal with energy sector debt and a number of things. And so a little over a month ago, the finance minister laid before Parliament a request for approval of supplementary appropriation of the 6.9 billion cedis in question, which is money that has actually been spent already. They're just seeking a retrospective parliamentary approval for that. And it was referred to the Committee on Finance, which has returned its report recommending that the House approve it. So again, apart from, first of all, the $35 million World Bank facility that the finance minister will be guiding the House to approve later today, apart from him delivering a statement on the state of the economy in the light of the COVID-19 situation and what the stimulus package will look like, he would also be guiding the House to seek approval for that supplementary appropriation of 6.9 billion cedis as part of the processes later today. So it looks like the minister's hands are full going into this day as far as proceedings in the House of Parliament are concerned.
How are the members themselves taking the related issues of a lockdown and also observing the guidelines of social distancing this morning?
Right now on the floor, although sitting was supposed to commence at 10 o'clock, we are well almost an hour into when sitting should have started. But from a casual look, the number of MPs on the floor are no more than 50, are no more than 50. I think that's even a very high estimation of the figures. The indication is that just maybe a number of them are still in their offices, and it's likely that they may show up in the next few minutes. You recall that the House sat on Saturday. It was a very interesting development because when the House sat on Saturday, the minority MPs, all of them, were not present at all on the floor of the House to guide proceedings because they thought what was happening was not exactly urgent business. On the specific issue of the lockdown, the minority MPs, some of them have raised concerns. I've been speaking to Dr. Dominic Ayine, who is the MP for Bolgatanga East and former Deputy Attorney General, who, for example, thinks we should have seen a national lockdown instead of a lockdown of selected areas, because otherwise, between when the president announced this and today, some people may have moved into different zones and probably still spread the virus. So not a lot of MPs are excited about the idea of a partial lockdown covering Greater Accra and Greater Kumasi, and they would have loved to see a situation of that lockdown being expanded to other parts of the country. But one thing that Samuel Kujetua Blakwa, who is the MP for North Song, had requested of the majority leader late last week was that on the specific issue of the lockdown, he asked on the floor that Ostechi Mensah makes provision for the House to debate the whole idea of a lockdown. And the majority leader indicated that they were consulting on that to make the appropriate room available. So it's well possible that beyond everything that the finance minister will be dealing with in the House later today, if the majority leader goes ahead and delivers on the assurance that they were consulting on making space for a conversation on the lockdown, just maybe Parliament will debate that broadly as well on the floor before or after all the other issues relating to the finance minister is concerned. And just to again add, we've gotten the indication that we may see the Attorney General laying before Parliament a document having to do with the bodies that have been established to receive donations from ordinary members of the public and ensure that support is distributed. We gather that apart from the finance minister and all the other things, the Attorney General will be laying that document for a parliamentary approval for that particular move and the establishment of that body to oversee those donations and also distribution of the donations.
Well, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, I have to say a comprehensive update you've given us, but we have to let you go. But before we let you go, though, there's expected to be an, is it an executive instrument that's supposed to be, is it laid or the gazetting starting today? What really is the update on that?
Restriction of the imposition of restriction bill 2020, which Parliament passed about 2 weeks ago. One provision in it is that anytime that a president wants to impose restrictions, as President Akufo-Addo has done today, effective today, 1 a.m., he's supposed to issue an executive instrument and get it gazetted and published out there. So he doesn't have to come to Parliament for any additional approval. Once he's invoking that particular legislation, then the executive instrument will spell specifically the areas that it will cover, what exactly is being restricted, and specifically who are exempt from any possible restriction. And once that document goes out, then it becomes public and it virtually becomes law, and then everyone is expected to abide by that. So That's why we are expecting that the president will be issuing that executive instrument today, but it's not something that will come to Parliament for any possible approval, because the parliamentary approval for that is what is contained in the imposition of restriction bill, which the House passed about 10 days ago. And just again, to give a heads up, that document that Parliament passed indicated that anyone who flouts this restriction, as the president has announced and is going to legalize with the executive instrument, you are liable to a fine of something in the region of 12,000 cedis all the way to 60,000 cedis. And in default of that, it's possible that it could go to jail between 3 and 6 months. So just some form of education there. This is something that's contained in the imposition of restriction bill that ordinary members of the public should be aware of.
Well, thank you. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, our lead parliamentary correspondent, giving us an update as we expect the finance minister before the plenary, and among many other related things, about a briefing as to how the coronavirus pandemic is going to affect government projections, and then also what sort of stimulus packages and its general effect on the economy. There's also expected to be laid before the House, leading as a finance minister, a 35 million credit facility, if not a loan agreement with the World Bank. And we'll give you all those updates when that briefing in Parliament starts live right here on Joy News. But again, what is live is giving you the latest or the update on a market disinfection exercise which is currently ongoing in the Bonois region. It is to disinfect various markets in there, and we also do know that the Sunyani Central Market have all been included, and the Techi Market have also been disinfected early this morning. The exercise is still underway in other markets in the region. But before we take you live, here is JoyNews Erastus Asaridonko with some of the market queens at the Sunyani Central Market this morning.
So she says she's the clothes queen. I mean, those who sell clothes, she's their queen. But Sena uhu nia ekoso ewo market imu nei.
Ene de yehu yeni ajepa yeni nso aso. De mema kese moja modwuma ho. Na mo begina e de amayen. Ene ma bebre ministers nyina wo ha. Yeni ajepa women's wing nyina wo ha. Yedamase se ma dwen sunwan dwaso ho. Na de enim sanke yenka ho san eka ho. Yedamase pa.
Well, she is happy. She's expressing appreciation that they thought that Sunyani Market was not part of the exercise. They are happy that the regional minister, the president, has thought about them, and they are bringing the disinfection exercise to their market as well. Let me find out from her what she knows about this whole pandemic. And at the end, I will name Efa Yaria Yakanwasemi Munim Huasem Kakra.
Mpajo yenim huasem bebre. Mone yakasa bebre. Ya kwesua mafra ya kire ye ni nyina. Se wose ye wohore yensa. Ye de we mafu wash ye de we sanitizer efa yensa ho. Nyina mo kire yen. Se ye men so ebe ma yente mu atete. Ni entare so. Nti ya hunu nyina nti adamase pa.
So she knows. I was asking her about what she knows about the virus itself. She says she knows many things. They've been told how to sanitize, how to do the social distancing, and so they are okay with it. Now we do have the market queen herself. Nana Kwakahima is here, and so let's have a word with her as well. Mama, and yeah, disinfecting my market, yeah, spray mu, yeah, hasa the niyama airco. At the end, I will expect to say basi.
Me that was say, woman menya sa kwenya we. The ebesi and say, by the end of the spraying or disinfecting, no, ebema and one kitten kitia, a one market ha. That you know, a day a however bread any pie jano, a bit free.
So she's expecting that this exercise will kill microbes and other things found in the market, not the COVID-19 alone. What do you want to know concerning the spread of the virus? What do you want authorities to do? Because Sunyani has not witnessed any case yet.
authority no ehu ne se nipa bi mu no every mia abewura kuro yi mu enti Ministry of Health and Director of Health me stress oma ne nkrofo ngwura kuro nketwa ewo ha no na yenyi sa nipa yi no mpie na yen quarantine omo said the beya omo fa yare ni bi free baby emma ha suyanamai.
So that's the market queen, and she says they suspect that people are moving in from the lockdown areas into Sunyani, and it's their expectation that the health ministry and government will liaise with the local authority to fish them out and put them under quarantine to ensure that they do not spread the virus around if they have any, and that's her expectation. So the market queen herself is here. There are other market women here. They've closed their shops and they are ensuring that the exercise becomes a success. And to the side here, you can see the spraying gang doing their...
And that's Erastus Asaridon, but that was in the morning. And we have him live on stream. Good morning to you, Erastus. From the last report you had, we just played one of the content you delivered excellently so far. What will be the updates you would want to tell us?
So currently we brought the whole disinfection exercise to a climax. We've been to other markets. We've been to Brekum. We've been to Fiapre. We've been to Jine. We've been to so many areas where the markets were disinfected. And currently we converged where we are a short while ago, where the regional minister, who is also head of RedSec, addressed the press. And in her submission, she said that they've been able to quarantine 2 people so far who were arrested crossing the border from Ivory Coast to this particular region illegally, and currently they are under quarantine. And she also speaks of other measures adopted by the Regional Security Council in the wake after the disinfection exercise to try to sensitize the people, again to provide medical supplies for the people here, and then provide more education so that in case anybody at all should come in with a case, they will be able to handle it. So it's been good so far. All the markets have been disinfected so far, and we have brought the whole exercise to a climax.
But it means that a lot of marshalling of resources, etc., to make sure we have this exercise being undertaken. How well were these disinfection exercises that you undertook this morning received by residents close by?
In fact, when you see the empty markets, it tells you of their full compliance. Many of them closed shop, and you could not find anybody at all in the various shops. They've all packed their things, closed the entrances to their shops so that the people will come in and do the disinfection exercise. And whilst we were doing it, you have people who were coming over to commend the disinfection team, telling them that they are so happy that they are doing this for them. You had the market women there, they were so happy that the government has also thought about them, though they've not experienced or witnessed any case yet, to come in there to disinfect against other microbes they speak of in the various markets. They are so grateful for this particular exercise. But they are also telling government that they should put in other measures, provide the appropriate PPE for health staff. They should also provide more education. They were talking about the provision of sanitizers and nose masks and other things for those who need it, so that the whole exercise will be upfront and be proactive enough to prevent the region from recording any case at all, and that's their view.
Well, Erastus Asaridonko, as it is, we would also need to know where the bus, if not the train, is going next in relation to these exercises to be organized.
Well, I'm hearing, not confirmed though, that they will be moving to the northern region. And so after this, we'll get more information or confirmation to that, whether it will come off as expected. But I'm learning from our colleagues that they will be moving to the northern region from Sunyani.
I noticed that a number of organizations have been very instrumental, particularly Zoom Lion as well as the rest of the Jospon Group subsidiaries and other allied companies. How have they collaborated with you, having reported from the Ashanti region to the Bono and Bono East, etc., in this whole exercise with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development?
In fact, I must say, I commend Zoom Lion for the yeoman's job. They've been very instrumental in this whole exercise. They've brought on board a lot of expertise, a lot of technology in especially dispensing the chemical for disinfection. You could see the state-of-the-art drones that they deployed to spray the entire market. They also brought in some pickups that had spraying guns in them. They have a lot of their staff coming in with mechanized knapsack sprayers, going deep into the markets to do the disinfection. And then you have staff of Zoom Lion who are also going around distributing food and other items to the journalists who are covering this whole exercise. And so I must say that other institutions have also joined. We have other political parties, especially the New Patriotic Party, the regional women's organizer, bringing his whole organizing team, some women along, to also help the people with the whole exercise. So I must say that total cooperation from everybody. They saw it as a national exercise, so they have to join hands and join everything to make sure that it becomes a success.
But as it is, it means that it's an exercise that seems to have been received by many of the community. Thank you, Erastus Asari Donko. Well, just in case you live in one of those communities, you would want to interact with us, make sure you do so. You witness these exercises in Sunyani, Techiman, and we have many of those related areas in Bono as well as the Bono East region. You can tag us. Facebook, JoyNews on TV, always available for you. We do have a Twitter handle, JoyNews on TV, and as you watch us live through Major Online TV on YouTube, you can also give us more of your comments. But look, regularly, you can watch us not only on DSTV, Go TV, but we're now live on the DTT platforms. That's the digital terrestrial television platforms, but still on coronavirus and its fights. Youth groups at Old Tafo Zongo in Kumasi, they have initiated a sensitization program among many others to help contain the spread of the virus. They are committing to deploying social media to engage their communities even during the period of the partial lockdown, which comes into effect or has come into effect today. Now, Mahmoud Muhammaduddin is bringing us the latest from these communities.
Old Tafo municipality lies on the north of Greater Kumasi, sharing boundaries with Kumasi Metropolis, Swami Municipality, and Kwapre East Municipality. Meters away from the Old Tafo Government Hospital begins one of the densely populated communities in the municipality, Tafo Zango. Residents here, like others in parts of the Ashanti region, have started to feel the pinch of the coronavirus.
Because this is a virus that is very dangerous. The damages of this virus is beyond what we are thinking.
The clarion call is the safety of the community. We may have divergent political views, but when it comes to the safety and the protection of the community, I think it's paramount.
Though no confirmed case has been recorded here, socio-economic activities have virtually come to a standstill. One important thing to prevent COVID-19 from showing its head here is this sensitization program. Our people here, especially the Zongos, didn't believe the outbreak of the COVID-19, so they kept on violating the government's directive. so we needed to intervene.
Early, when the announcement was made that we shouldn't go to mosque and church, we could still see some people in our Zongo communities going to mosque to pray, which we saw that it wasn't in good taste.
Sensitization programs here at Tafu Zango is in top gear from different youth groups, all aimed at preventing the spread of the virus. A report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
Great content being delivered right here. You want to get the up-to-the-minute update on the lockdown situation as it started 1 a.m. with the deployment of military and police personnel. This is the channel for you, so you can get relevant updates through our social media platforms. We have Facebook, JoyNews on TV. We do have a Twitter handle at JoyNews on TV, and get the latest from our main portal, myjoyonline.com. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll tell you what is going down in relation to the lockdown, and also telling you about what is going to happen live in Parliament. We expect the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, to be at the plenary to address them. Stay with us, we'll be right back. And you're watching an extended version of Newsdesk, and it is because we expect to address the plenary, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, very soon. We'll cross over to Parliament, get the latest update when that live feed is on, when he is before the plenary. But also in the wake of all the related things, we have to continue this great content we're giving you. And if you want to get the latest update, our main portal is myjoyonline.com. But our social media handles and pages are very active. Facebook, we do have JoyNews on TV. Make sure you like the page, get all the related comments to the post that we always put there. And then also when you get onto Twitter, we have a Twitter handle at JoyNews on TV. Make sure you follow us and press, there's a bell, there's an icon that looks like a bell. Press that button and then you get notification. It's very important for us. And well, Mama Vio Swabwaje is going to continue from here because of this extensive coverage we're giving you. It's a lockdown, but also, Mama V, it's an emergency. Coronavirus is a pandemic now.
Absolutely, Roland. Roland, thank you very much. So we will take you to Parliament as and when we do have the feed, but we have coronavirus-related conversations. First, we want to bring you a playback of Dr. Mensa Otabil, some words that he shared on COVID-19.
The scriptures tell us in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and of a sound mind. It's a very interesting way to look at it. God has not given us the spirit of fear. And so the simple question is, if God did not give us the spirit of fear, where did the spirit of fear come from? Why are we so afraid? If God is not the one who is making us afraid, then something else is making us afraid. And many times fear comes through our own sense of weakness because we feel that we don't have the strength to deal with something, or fear comes because we are overwhelmed by something so big that we can't really make sense of it. Wherever that fear comes from, it doesn't come from God. And it is not the way God wants you to live your life. And it's not the way God wants you to look at circumstances. So I encourage you, in the midst of all that is happening, the uncertainty and the fears, that God has not given us the spirit of fear. The word that is translated fear in that passage is a very interesting word. In the original Greek, it means cowardice or timidity. And so when we say that somebody is a coward or somebody is timid, it means that something bigger is making them feel small. Something above them, it's making them feel that they are below and they are beneath everything. And of course, our world is dealing with some heavy-duty issues. We have this virus that is disorganizing everybody's life, and especially for us in countries like Ghana, when we see nations like the United States and Italy and Spain, and these nations that we thought had it together, Great Britain, we thought they had it together, and all of a sudden, they don't have it together. And when you hear of princes and prime ministers and people you think are so powerful, they can be protected and they can be kept safe, all of a sudden not feeling safe. Then you look at yourself and feel, what can small me do? That is the timidity part. You feel, it's happened to big people, I'm so small. So how do I survive? The interesting thing when you read the Bible is that God takes care of the small people. God takes care of the weak, of the vulnerable, of those who are not able to take care of themselves. So yes, you may hear of big people not able to survive, but if you put your trust in God, He's able to hold you. As little as you feel you are, He's big enough to hold you, He's big enough to strengthen you, and He's big enough to keep you safe. So remember, God has not given us the spirit of fear. That fear you feel is not the way God wants you to live your life. And I want you to resolve that you're going to live a life of confidence and assurance in the Lord. You're going to trust Him with your life. You're going to trust Him every day of your life. You're going to trust Him moment by moment, minute by minute. Of course, nobody knows the end from the beginning. Nobody knows everything and how they will pan out. But God is all-knowing, and we can trust Him that He will keep us and He'll keep us safe. So today I just want to encourage you. God has not given you the spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of a sound mind. And I pray that your mind will be sound and that you have power over what you're going through. Have a great time. Have a great day. You will see tomorrow, and it will be well with you.
Well, you had the words of Dr. Mensa Otabil. What we are showing you now is the Ghana situation in terms of COVID-19, what we have recorded. We've got 10 confirmed cases in mandatory quarantine. And this update yesterday, but still very relevant today. 63 confirmed, 2 recovered, 56 are responding. We have no person in critical condition, and we have recorded 5 deaths so far. So the situation with the mandatory quarantine, 79, but all 79 also responding quite well, we're told. So from the cases that we have, a total of 152 confirmed cases. All right, so this 10 mandatory, this case is actually coming from Tamale, 10 in mandatory quarantine and 10 responding to treatment. So that's the updates that we have today, 30th of March. And this situation was same as yesterday, 29th of March. We still have 152 confirmed cases. And in terms of the hotspots, we now know Accra, Tema, Kaswa, and Kumasi, and that's why we are under a lockdown. So the order that has been given, stay at home if you live in the Greater Accra metropolitan area, and that includes Ewutu, Senya East, also Greater Kumasi metropolitan area. You are to stay at home for the next 2 weeks, and that started today, effective today. We've been trying to gauge the mood. Places are very quiet in Accra. Some women have gone back to the markets, but people are not going to the market to go and buy. We've been told you can get out even as you stay at home. You can only leave home for essential items such as food, medicine, water, undertake banking transactions. You could use the public toilet as well. Those who are allowed to work, persons involved in food value chain operating in market, members of executive, legislature and judiciary. We know Parliament is sitting today. Production, distribution and marketing of food, beverages, pharmaceuticals, medicine, paper and plastic packages, environmental and sanitation activities, staff of VALCO, road and railway construction workers. These persons are expected to work. But even with this group, it is still essential workers from these categories that are expected to be working in these 2 weeks as we go on this lockdown. All right, you're watching JoyNews. We will take you to Parliament. Parliament is not sitting, will start sitting around midday today, and we will take you to Parliament as and when that sitting begins. We know Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is expected to brief the House on measures adopted by government in this critical period to keep the economy afloat, if you like. We will bring you that live from Parliament. Stay with us here on JoyNews. You can log on to myjoyonline.com. We have a lot of updates on the coronavirus, the situation in Kumasi in particular and in the Greater Accra region. So definitely stay with us.